Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, for the board and everyone's donating their time and people showing interest in politics. I think it's very important that we take the opportunity to examine what everyone has to share, what they have to provide for leadership, what they have to provide to bring the state and take it forward. I agree that leadership has been one of the key issues that is important in this race. And when you look at this district is very strong on the Second Amendment. This district is very strong pro-life. This district, as you've heard say tonight, is very concerned about water and the economy of this area. I have led bills and several bills in each and every one of them areas. I started out my first year down there and led a large water bill that has provided the local control and the local decisions. It's actually put some tools in the hands of the local entities, which you get to listen to following us in a little bit, about who you're going to elect to utilize the tools to protect the economy of Southwest Nebraska, because it is very vital. I have taken the opportunity on gun issues, defend the Second Amendment, where I got the city exemption out so innocent people weren't going to different cities and not knowing that you couldn't have a concealed gun there, not knowing that you could be breaking the law, not knowing where to have it to pass through that city. We had the situation in Omaha, Papillion, La Vista on one corner. I remember opening up saying, which part of the intersection do you want me to stop in to move the gun so that we don't break the law? Because there's 3 different locations you had to have that gun placed. I also have taken on another gun issue, getting rid of the registration for the people that have concealed carry, that are trained, that have the license, so that they are able to carry freely and not have to be under that burden. And again, freed up the opportunity, if you're driving with concealed carry in McCook, or from McCook going through Omaha, you didn't get in trouble not notifying the city that where that gun was at. So besides the waters and the guns, I introduced the cloning bill, which passed. Thank you.
Hi, Mark. Well, it seems to me we have a lot of party-first politics going on, with elected officials putting the interest in their political party before the interest of the people who elected them. What are your thoughts regarding that, and are there ways we can raise some of those barriers?
I think in Nebraska we got one of the best situations for bridging that, and it's called the unicameral, which is nonpartisan, because you'll be sitting there working with the same people that might be opposing you on one bill. 5 minutes later is going to be supporting you. And you don't have the parties telling you how to vote. I've never had the Republican Party walk up to me and say, we need you to vote this way. And where we know in Washington that happens a lot. It's split right down party lines. It's split that way, and it's a crime. But you can work across lines. I've been able to work across lines a lot when I've been down there. I've never had a bill come forward that's split according to the parties. It's always been mixed across. Every bill I have come to the floor, I go to each individual senator, talk to them about the bill, ask them what questions they have about it, and that is one reason we've been able to get bills passed, been able to build the coalitions amongst the senators, because they understand where I'm coming from before we get to that floor debate. They have an opportunity to ask questions to see why I'm bringing the bill or anything they don't understand. The Speaker of the Legislature, Mike Flood, has commented on the floor several times saying, if more people would take the example we've seen on the previous bill and go explain it to every senator before we start, we'd be able to get more legislation done and get it done more accurately and efficiently than if you just come to the floor and try to sell it from your discussion. And that's where I've built coalitions on the floor. I've been endorsed by 36 senators that are there now out of 49. So that shows you right there. And several of them know both of us, and they didn't want to endorse either one. But at the same time, a number of them did. And that's why I believe I'm the right one to step up and continue leading this district and building them coalitions that we have in Lincoln.
Senator, continuing the water discussion, how can we proactively address the looming water issues in southwest Nebraska? Specifically, how would you address the seeming disparities between usage in the upper and middle Republican anarchies?
Well, I think there's if you want to go back and change, what caused it was the 1998-2002 years they used as base. If you ever changed that, the base years, threw them out, went back to historic, or if you bring it back to dividing that out, the difficult part is this. You've got difference in rainfall, you got difference in need. It is a very difficult issue. And the issue that we got to look at more than that is the decreasing water tables. We've got to make sure we put an end to that. We've got to make sure that we're sitting in a position that we're not using more than what can be restored. And there's two ways of handling that. The reason the upper has the declines that the middle and the lower don't is because they don't have their surface irrigation districts. Because surface irrigation districts recharge the aquifers. That's why I just love seeing the lakes fill up. I love to see the canals running because as they seep down, it recharges our aquifer. That's why I've been a proponent for setting up a statewide water plan, which would include transfer of water around, because if you brought water into the western part of the district, say the Colorado line, we would be able to recharge that aquifer. We would end them declines, it'd increase stream flows, it'd benefit the whole district. And there are times that we can do that even though there's cooperative agreement on the plat. A lot of people say, well, you just can't take it from the plat, but that's wrong. I remember in 2007, driving down the interstate, going back to the legislature, and there was flooding at Grand Island on both sides of the motels on the south side of the interstate, running on the east side of Arby's. And I called DNR the next day and said, are we kicking water into Elwood Reservoir because Johnson's was full? And they said, no. I said, why aren't we? The excuse was the cooperative agreement. But that was not even factored in it. So I called 4 more senators. They all called DNR, and we started moving water in. And we now have a quicker response time out of DNR moving water in to like Elwood Reservoir or Johnson's or other reservoirs that can hold water in times when there is surpluses like in the Platte. And there's also other areas that we could move water. I've been a proponent down here. If you take water, I'm running out of time, but out of the Little Blue or the ammunition depot where they're going to clean up at Hastings, if we'd move that up to the Platte to meet during endangered species flow times, May through September, then they deliver the same amount back to us at the Colorado state line, October through April. We'd have a free pipeline, free transfer, benefit both districts. Again, I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to be here and to speak in front of you. It is a unique race that Tom and I are in tonight because we both have a record. I encourage you to go onto the website and look at our records, the bills we've introduced, the bills we've got passed, what they have accomplished. and who has led the bills that are important to you. You know, when I go out in the district, I find out all the time, water's the #1 issue. That's why I've tackled it head on from my first year. And I have worked on refining it from the beginning. I've worked on the Second Amendment extensively because of the importance of it. I have worked on pro-life issues because them are the key issues that come up time and time again. And that's why I challenge you to look to see where I have introduced the bills, from taking care of handicapped children, getting them to graduate, go back to school next day with their class, to the water, the guns, and pro-life. Thank you.